One of the other important things that we have in Python is data types. So let's go and let's see what is data types and what are data types that we have. Let me create a new file with name data types.py. In the previous section, I talked about the variable. For example, I define an age variable and put it equal to 27. Okay, it's an integer variable. The amount of this value, this name, is 27, and 27 is type of integer. If I print something here, print type age. I want to see type of the age variables here. If I run the application, we can see that it said a type of class int and it's integer. What's the other types that we have in Python or any other languages? Another important type that we have is float number. Let's assume that we have height variable as 5.8. It's a float value, floating point value. So what is the type in the Python? Let's print out the type and let's see what's the type of this height variable here. Let me make it bigger. And if I run that, we can see the type of height variable is float. So we don't want to define the type for the variables. For example, in some languages, if we define a variable, we should define a type for that. For example, for this height, we should say, so okay, it's float. For this age, we should say, okay, it's an integer number. In some programming language, we should define. But in Python, we can, but we won't need to define the type of the variables. What's the other types that we have here? Let's assume that we want to store some sentence in a variable. For example, welcome to our application. What's the type of the variable then? Let's create a new variable with name welcome message. Welcome to our application. We have a variable with the name welcome message equal to double quotation, something that we have here, and between these quotations we will write the sentence. Without them, we can write sentence without this quotation. It will say, so what are these? These are some variables that we defined. What is the sentence? If we put these double quotations here, we are telling to Python that I want to have a sentence, and the type of this sentence will be string. As you can see, class str. The type of this variable will be a string. If you want to define a type for that, we should say str. In Python we have str. So let me write the type. Let me write the type of these two also. Float and int. Okay. Do we have any other? Yes. Another type that we have is Boolean. Maybe you didn't hear about that. What is Boolean type? Let's assume we want to have a variable, and the value of that variable can be two options. One of them is true and one of them is false. In this case, we will use Boolean variables. How we can define? For example, let's assume that we have a user in our website and we want to understand is that user is an admin or not. We will define is admin variable equal to false. Or we can define it like this. Everything, the name is optional, everything you want. I prefer this way. Is admin, it's equal to false. It means this user that we are talking about is not an admin. If we print out the type of this variable here, we can see that it will tell us the type of this variable is Boolean, bool. So we have a Boolean here. Let's again type the data types here. We want to change the admin is admin value. For example, we want to put is admin equal to 12. And then we want to print the type of is admin and also the value of is admin. What do you think about that? What will happen? Does the type will change to integer here? Or no? We will face some issue. Let's see. As you can see here, the type of the is admin that we have here changed to integer. Let me run it again. Change to integer, and the value of that is admin is 12 right now. It's not something meaningful for this variable name, but the data type changed from Boolean to false to integer. We can also change welcome message. Welcome message equal to 12, and let's see what we will have in the output. The type again changed to integer. Let me remove these data types here. As I said, we don't need them in Python. So I discussed 4 data types here. We have many others like list, like arrays that I will discuss in future videos. I want to show up something that to convert the data types, for example, from integer to float, from integer to string. How we can do that? One of them is to assign a value, for example, assign a integer to welcome message here, as you see. Another way that we can have here is, for example, let me define some variable here. For example, let's have this variable with the name number, and the amount of this variable and the value is 1, 2, 3. Okay, if we print this number out, the type and also the value, we can see the type is integer and the value is 1, 2, 3. I want to convert this integer to a string with the same value. How we can do that? Let's define some other variable with the name string, and it will be equal to number, the variable that we defined in line 8, but we want to convert that to a string. How we can do that? Simply with this approach, str, and in the parentheses we will write the number, the name of the variable. What will happen? Let me print out this string variable, we have it here. It's a string, and the amount of that and value of that variable is 1, 2, 3. We can convert these types into each other. For example, for integer, we should say, for example, int number. We will change the data types of the number. If we want to convert to float, we should say float here. If we want to convert to boolean, we should say convert to boolean like this. So I talked about 4 data types: integer, float, string, and boolean. Also, I talked about the conversion between these types. For example, you can convert a string to integer, to float. It's something that will really helpful for us. For example, let's assume that we are getting data from the backend, from some data center, and we have the data like this, and we want to change the data types to string, and then I will able to use that in my application, depend on my approach.